Hi, my name is McCauley, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I'd like to thank the Rehoboth Public Library for inviting me, especially Sarah and Lauren. It's my pleasure to be here today. So the topic that I was going to talk about is really a combination of a love of reading and writing. And I imagine many of you that are viewing this started out with a love of reading, and when you read other people's works, it kind of triggers a love of writing. And if you do enjoy writing, it doesn't matter your age. I started writing when I was little, and my dear mom saved every story that I ever wrote. And then as a teenager, I wrote, and I never thought what I wrote was good enough. And I really didn't like showing it to people. But I've come to learn now as an adult that it's okay to show your work to people. People will enjoy it. It's an expression that you have, and so many people that are authors or writers say, oh, I have all these ideas in my head. I put it down, but I really didn't do anything with it. Well, I say to you, write, write, write. Because the more you write, it's like a craft. You get better at it. Think about like that simple, learning how to ride a bike. If you only tried it once, you might not be that great at it. So the more time that you invest in writing, you're going to look back at your own work and see things that you enjoy. You'll take pleasure in it. And you might see things like, oh, that wasn't my best work, but that's okay. You can just keep growing. It's like a garden, and you cultivate your writing. So here I am, almost 61 years old, and I started writing when I was a child. And then when I had my own family, I wrote books, and my children were in those stories, and I would read them to them at night. And I never did anything with it. But what I can say is all those years I've been writing and just finding joy. It was like a hobby for me. So recently I decided, okay, enough of this. I want to take my writing and turn it into a real book. I want to go from being a writer to a published author. Now that might be something that you enjoy, or you might be at the stage in your life where you're just writing and having fun with it. And maybe you're tucking it away in a drawer and you don't want to share it with anyone. But if you have an ambition to do writing to share with other people, then don't wait until you have a finished product. As you're going through the writing process, stop and share your manuscript or your whatever you have with other people. I'm going to just show you real quick. I recently wrote a book called No School for 2 Weeks, and my book was time sensitive. It's a story about a child's view of learning remotely during the pandemic. So I was not going to tuck that away anymore. I got the idea, I started writing. It really took a whole year, but I didn't tuck it away in a drawer, and I wasn't afraid to show people. I started thinking, hey, you know what? Let me ask people what they think. If they like it, they're going to tell me. So really, if you're writing and you have an ambition to do more than just write for yourself, when you're sharing it with people, they're going to give you that next set of eyes, and that's really important. And take their criticism well. I shared my manuscript along the way with people, and I had people telling me to change things and other people telling me not to. And then I had to kind of go with myself, and I took a little bit of feedback and I went with what I thought was right. Now for me, this is a children's picture book, so I had to work with an illustrator, and I was fortunate to know someone. But I will say writing for whatever your purpose takes time and commitment. But if you like it, you're going to enjoy it. Some writers say, I'm going to write a certain amount of words a day. Some people will say, I'm going to give myself a treat after I write. It doesn't matter. You set your goal for the day. You set your goal for the week. If you have time in the summer and you have more free time, maybe you'll enjoy writing then. If you want to take it another step further and self-publish, that's an incredible experience, and I just did that. So again, my subject was time sensitive. I couldn't wait and just send my manuscript to a big publishing house because it could sit on someone's desk, and I knew, okay, this is a story hopefully that will help children during a pandemic, and I couldn't wait for it to sit somewhere. So if you are writing and you're loving it, no matter what age you are, if you say, what the heck, I'll give it a try, I'll see if I can self-publish. I did go through Amazon. They have their own publishing company. It's called KDP, or Kindle Direct Publishing. And I started out by choosing to publish a paper book. And it's actually easy. You do it right. You can write, I wrote first on a piece of paper, and then I actually turned to my computer, and I wrote right through. I wrote that way, and then I uploaded my manuscript. But you have the freedom when you are self-publishing. You can create your own cover. You don't have an editor. You become your own editor. Now, granted, like I said, you want to share it with other people because then they're technically being like freelance editors for you. But when you write, before you actually get to the final uploading your manuscript with any self-publishing company, there's so many steps that you need to do. You need to create your title. And again, you have the freedom of creating a title. You have the freedom of creating a cover. Nobody's going to tell you how long your book has to be. Now, I did a lot, and there's a lot of homework to be done for this. If you are writing, even if you're going to just share it and you're not totally publishing, do your homework. I checked to see how many words are on a page of a book. How many pages are the normal size for a book? I looked at the text, I looked at the font, I looked at the font size. So there's so many things that go into creating the book. The writing comes first though. So again, if you love to write your story. Maybe it's a memoir, maybe it's an experience that you have. They always say to writers, write what you know about. Well, I taught kindergarten for a really long time, so I chose a picture book. Maybe you love to cook. Maybe you have incredible family recipes. Maybe you want to write a cookbook. That is something that would be so wonderful to share. You could even create it and then give it to people as a gift. So basically, when you are writing, write what you know. Don't try to find a topic that you know nothing about, unless you're really willing to do a lot of research. And that's okay too, because you're going to learn from doing your research. Just for me alone, self-publishing a book, I literally spent this past January and February every day watching tutorials on how to write and publish a children's book, or any type of book actually, but I knew mine was going to be a children's book. So there is homework behind it, there's a lot of learning behind it, but the bottom line is write. Oh, and then I can't forget to say read, because I knew I wanted to write a book about the children's pandemic, but I started looking about what kind of books were already written. What did the authors have to say? Obviously, I didn't want to copy what anybody else was doing, but I really wanted to hear someone else's voice. How did they tell the story? So whether you are writing fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, again, discovering how to put together a cookbook, you can do all of these things and self-publish a book. But if you're doing it purely for the joy and you're just not sure of like, is this right? Look at other people's samples, learn from that. We can always learn from other people's experiences. So I hope that you continue to love writing. I hope you're willing to be open and look at other people's samples. Keep reading, keep writing, enjoy it. If it's a hobby and that's all you want it to be, that's great. Enjoy that hobby. If you want to take it to the next level, really, the world of self-publishing has just opened up and it's tremendous, and there's so much that you can do with it. Happy reading, happy writing, and I hope you enjoy your experience as being a writer, being an author, and sharing your stories with other people.